Teen Talk 2, written by Liskoria editorial staff and Dwayne Voorhees. Issue 16. Is the smartphone your friend? As smartphones get smarter, they are rapidly replacing personal computers since they can send email messages and pictures and pick up broadcasts. For the first time in human history, people can find out virtually any information, can communicate with anyone, can get emergency help, can pass time by playing games or music, can do work, or can engage in almost any activity, no matter where they are and no matter what time it is. The equipment that enables this is cheap, compact, and convenient to use. For many people, especially teenagers, their new smartphones have become like a family member and constant companion, an electronic best friend. But they bring their share of problems as well. On the one hand, they promote dependency. Once the attachment is formed, people feel naked and helpless without them. They feel the need to be connected at all times, so they are slaves to their own devices, with no free time and no freedom. On the other hand, they are becoming more isolated from the world. They no longer need to have any physical presence for personal interaction. They never have to leave their room, but can communicate intimately with perfect strangers. The smartphones also contribute to the multitasking mentality. The problem with doing several things at once is that none of these things can be done well. What does it mean? 1. People feel naked and helpless without them. 2. They no longer need to have any physical presence for personal interaction. Comprehension. 1. What does the author refer to an electronic best friend? 2. Does the author think the new capabilities of smartphones are a good thing or a bad thing? Explain your answer. Do you agree? 3. What are the social and psychological problems associated with smartphone use?
Teen Talk. One. Do you have the latest smartphone? Why or why not? 2. If your friend bought a new phone, would you be dying to buy one too? Or wouldn't you care? 3. Do you always keep your phone with you 24/7? Why or why not? 4. How do you feel when, for whatever reason, you are disconnected? 5. Which is more comfortable for you, talking on the phone or texting? 6. Some schools prohibit the bringing of smartphones to class. What do you think about that policy? 7. Have you ever had your phone ring during class? What happened? 8. Could you do without your phone for a week? Why or why not? 9. Do teenage boys and teenage girls use their smartphones the same way? If not, how are they different? 10. If your friend didn't answer your call or text immediately, how would you feel?
Opinion samples. 1. We can't own a car yet, and we have to wear school uniforms, so the only way we can express our status and individuality is through our phones. So keeping up with the smartphones is an important part of social life. If your phone is too old or too big or too old-fashioned, you are likely to be shunned by even your closest friends. Your memory is too slow, and your functionality too limited to keep up with your fashionable high-tech friends. Since new models with more and improved features are always coming out, it's a large challenge to keep up, but doing so is a necessary part of life. Not being up to date is a form of social suicide. Questions. 1. Why has keeping up with the smartphones become socially important? 2. Are smartphone purchases driven mainly by necessity or peer pressure?
Opinion samples 2. I went to my new school today and was shocked at the barbaric policy it has adopted regarding smartphone use. No student is allowed to have a smartphone while in school. If a student is caught in possession, the phone is confiscated and will only be given to the student's parents. This is a terrible policy for many reasons. First, it is a flagrant violation of students' rights. To be deprived of our phones is to be deprived of our teenage identities. Are we just cattle? Second, what if there is an emergency at home? Or what if someone desperately needs to have an important conversation? The consequences of being incommunicado could be disastrous. Third, sometimes the teacher's lectures are too boring to withstand, and we need some kind of private diversion. It is inhumane to make us suffer through such torture every moment we are in school. Fourth, a lot of pressure is put on us to get good grades, but there are times when we need some help with a test or math problem. How are we going to get that assistance if we can't use our smartphones to find the answer? And fifth, the policy is discriminatory. Teachers and administrators are allowed to have smartphones, but only the students are prohibited. This is eminently unfair. Questions. 1. What good reasons might a school have for banning smartphones? 2. What do you think a sensible policy regarding smartphones would be?
Dialogue. I never see you without your smartphone in your hand.
Because I never put it down. I love my phone.
I think you love your phone more than you love your family.
Don't be silly. You know better than that.
But you spend a lot more time talking on it or texting than you do with me or your mom.
Oh, you're exaggerating. You both have things to do without me, and I need to occupy myself too. So I talk to my friends, look things up on the internet, or watch TV on my phone. What's wrong with that?
I just think modern life is too superficial. Why don't you read a good book?
Oh, I never liked to read much. You know that, even before I got my phone.
But reading is a wonderful way to pass the time. And you not only learn things, but also you find out a lot about human motivation and character.
So people say, but I never thought so. And I can get e-books on my phone too if I ever want to read one.
And you should get out more. Meet with your friends in person instead of on the phone.
I seem to remember when you said I wasn't at home enough. You thought I would be safer here, and you didn't want to worry about me.
That was true. I still don't want to worry about you, but now I worry that you are becoming a hermit with a phone addiction. I want you to put it down some of the time and do something else with your life.
But I'm very happy with my life. The world, or at least what I think is important about the world, is at my fingertips. I can talk to anybody I want to, wherever I am. I can hook up to the net and find out anything I'm curious about without waiting. I can look at my friends' photos and send them mine, even while we talk.
No, we all need direct physical contact. We need to spend time with other human beings in order to become fully human ourselves. Your world is just too artificial and too isolated. That's why I want you to disconnect for at least 2 hours a day.
2 hours? That's impossible. I can't cut myself off for that long. What would I do?
Like I said, read a book or magazine, take a walk and commune with nature, listen to music with your mother and talk, watch TV with me, spend some time with us, with your phone off, so you don't get interrupted all the time.
But I can do those things just as well with my phone on, so that way I don't need to miss anything.
Questions. 1. Do you ever turn your phone off for long periods of time? How do you feel then? 2. Imagine if you did not have a smartphone. How would you live? What would you do? 3. Some people don't like being on call 24/7, not wanting to be a slave to their phone, and others feel helpless if they are not constantly hooked up. Discuss how each group feels. Read and discuss. Face-to-face talk versus online talk. Since the electronic calculator was invented, nobody has done any arithmetic, so math skills have sharply deteriorated. Smartphone users don't need to remember anybody's phone number, and our ability to remember things is getting worse. And now we are worried that teenagers' texting capabilities might lead to their forgetting how to talk face-to-face. It might just be alarmist fear of new technology. Some people probably worried excessively over the invention of the telegraph, photography, the phonograph, movies, radio, and the telephone. But much of the concern over television's bad effects on young people, including increased social passivity and lowered imagination capabilities, continues to be borne out by researchers. And the connection between video games and adolescent violence also seems to be genuine. But one thing is clear, the new technology meets a real social need and will not just disappear. Societies are just going to have to come to grips with it. Questions. 1. What's the difference between online texting and face-to-face talking? 2. When you're in a serious online talk, can you really express yourself from the bottom of your heart? 3. Some teenagers feel texting is more comfortable than talking. Discuss this situation. Pictures talk. 1. Questions. 1. Do you always keep your phone on vibrate in public places? Why or why not? 2. Some people talk loudly on their phone in public places without a pang of guilt, but they seem annoyed when others do the same. Can you explain this attitude? 3. If you put your phone on vibrate and then lost it, and you couldn't locate it by calling it, what would you do?
2. Questions. 1. Smartphones have become extremely multifunctional. What new features do you think should be added to your smartphone? What should it be able to do that it can't do now? 2. Can you imagine what the future smartphone will be like? What will it look like? What if it is just an implant in our brain? 3. As the smartphones get smarter, we get dumber. Do you agree? Why or why not?
What's your advice? 1. I absolutely need to have the newest smartphone. I like to show off to my friends that I'm always stylish and on top of things. And I like the new features that are always being added. I feel left out whenever someone else has one and I don't. But my parents finally said that I get too many phones too often, and they can't afford them anymore. I've tried to save up enough cash from my pocket money, but it just takes too long. By the time I have enough to buy a new phone, the one I have will be seriously out of date. I can't wait that long. Maybe I could steal one from a store or from somebody else. But I think that's wrong, and I'm afraid I would get caught. What can I do? Does anyone have some good suggestions? 2. My father saw that I was using too many offensive and vulgar words when I am online, and he made me promise to stop. But my friends make fun of me and my resolution. They point out that I don't have the freedom to talk freely anywhere else and insist that we all need to express ourselves without restraint or we'll go crazy. And I think they're right. So I have a dilemma. I can try to keep my word to my dad, or I can be myself. What should I do?